This is about becoming a real estate agent and making money. First thing you need to do, sign up for a real estate school. The world being how it is today, most of these things are going to be virtual. You go on and you take the test. And you take the test through the official licensing board of your state. A lot of people that I have spoken to have been really, really surprised. They go through school and they come out, they feel grossly underprepared for the real estate world. Let's set the scene a little bit. Think of real estate in general as a restaurant. And what real estate school teaches you, it teaches you how to cook a dish. It's almost like a culinary school within that metaphor. So it teaches you how to create your service. What it doesn't teach you is how to market your service. Now that is huge. Now you're left with finding someone that would allow you to transact real estate on their behalf, which is where, in my experience, so many people don't understand getting into the business. I know people who go through school and they come out and they expect just clients to arise, and then they've been in the business for a year and they haven't sold a house. 80% of realtors sell one or less houses a year. That is kind of the state of the game right now. If you want my advice, which you're on my channel, so hopefully you kind of do, is that if you are starting out where none of your friends or family are buying and selling houses, I would join a real estate team. Functions like a mini brokerage, but it has a lot more perks, in my opinion. But with those perks, you give up more of your money. What a real estate team will do that brokerages typically do not do is they will give you leads. Mostly, a real estate team revolves around a massive player in the industry or a big agent. There are big agents in any market, but usually they have a large amount of transactions. And because they have so much business, then they have too much that they cannot handle it themselves. So they start to sub out different parts of the business. The first thing that they usually let go of is paperwork and transaction coordinating, because that takes a lot of time. Sub out to an assistant or an executive assistant. That is something that you can do, and having a license and then becoming a executive assistant or an assistant commands usually a higher price. And it's a really, really valid way to go if you want to take it really slow and you want to learn the business, or if you're a little bit more of a detail oriented person and less people facing, I would encourage you to look into that. And the next thing that you usually see a star agent or an agent with a lot of business let go of is buyers. Most people will start off with buyers because buyers are something that's a little easier to get through advertisements. And I'll explain to that later. Buyers take a lot more time. I got into the business when I was 25, but there's not a lot of people that I knew at the time that were buying real estate. Now, maybe you do have friends that are buying houses, and that's great. I would encourage you not to rely on your sphere. Marketing is my favorite thing to talk about. Story time, kids. My grandparents started a brokerage on a place called Isle of Palms. And what Isle of Palms is a island. Isle of Palms, Island of Palms, whatever. There's a one bridge that comes this way, and then one bridge that comes that way, and it merges into a single street. So you have to go on this single street and then it forks out. They put an office at the base of the bridge on the street. So before internet, before computers, that was the best thing they could have done to market themselves as agents and as a brokerage. Basically, anybody could become a real estate agent or a realtor. So you have an incredible amount of competition. People had a lot of success with Google SEO or Google Ads. What they would do is they would rank for certain keywords that were online. So let's just say I'm looking for a house, and then 3 promoted posts would come up, 3 search bar results, and then the organic post would come up. That is a very saturated thing. SEO has been saturated for years and years and years, and then Google Ads have just gotten more and more pricey. You can still make them work, but it's really, really competitive. It's very, very expensive. There's also Facebook. We had a lot of success in Facebook in the business I created, and we ran a lot of different multiple campaigns. The common thing online is that you will find a lot more buyers online than you will sellers, and sellers is a whole different ballgame. Also, an old school method that people still try to do, I've seen a massive decline in the popularity of this and the success of this, is calling expired listing. Expired listing is when something's been on the market and then it falls off the market that day of. A lot of people will call expired listings to try to get it back. Now, you don't see that much anymore because it's been such a bull market. It has been a bull market for over 60 months, over 5 years. Expired listings is something that a lot of people do and look at. Open houses are still a very, very valid way to get business. There are podcasts like Super Agents Live and Bigger Pockets. I would recommend Super Agents Live. Whole episode about open houses. I think it's an underserved marketing platform right now. A lot of people aren't doing open houses, and I think open houses work for you. Cold calling. Cold calling is massive, and I have a lot of experience with that. I really enjoyed it. You have to be careful with the do not call list. You do not want to annoy people, but there's a lot of tips and tricks and strategies for cold calling. That is a great way to start your business. Find the right list and the right people to contact. Door knocking is something that we used to do when we got into the business. We would go and we'd knock on doors and we'd hand out pamphlets and say hello and stuff like that. I think it netted us a couple sales. A lot of people do direct mail and postcards. It is expensive and you have to do a lot of it to make it work. But I would encourage rental. Rentals are something that instead of paying 3% commission, you will probably get, well, let's just say you're in South Carolina, you get somewhere between $100, maybe the first month's rent amount as a commission. Bigger cities, it can be a lot more, and people can have whole careers and businesses off of doing rentals. That is a very, very valid path. That is a lot of hustle and it will take a lot of work. The general rule of thumb, it will take about 6 months to a year to really get your first checks coming in.